Hey friends, Tony here from TL Yarn Crafts, and in this video we're making the Tunisian crochet circle in square. This square was designed as part of the Tunisian holiday blanket pattern but could easily be added to your own projects. If you're excited to learn this Tunisian crochet technique with me, be sure to like this video and consider subscribing to my channel for even more crochet tutorials, free patterns, and product reviews. In this tutorial, I'm using a 6.5mm Tunisian crochet hook and 2 colors of worsted weight yarn. We'll start our first of 12 wedges with one of our colors, make a slip knot, place it on the hook, and tighten down. And we're going to chain 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And now we're going to work in the second chain from our hook. Here's the second, and we'll work in the back bump of that second chain. So insert your hook under that bump, yarn over and pull up the loop, and keep that loop on your hook. And we'll do that for each chain down the line, inserting, yarning over, and pulling up a loop in each chain. We'll know we did it properly if we have the same number of loops on our hook as the number of chains we had in our starting chain, which should be 19. Just one more chain to go here. Gonna make sure I get all of the strands, yarn over, pull up the loop, and I've got 19 loops on my hook. Now I'll just do a regular return pass, starting with yarn over, pull through 1 for a chain 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 until I have just 1 loop left on my hook. Alrighty, 1 loop left on my hook, and now I need to simple stitch the next 2 stitches. So the first loop on my hook counts as my first stitch, so I'm skipping that first vertical bar, simple stitching under each of these next 2 stitches. So insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up the loop in the next vertical bar. The same for the one after that. And that ends that first row. I've got 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to chain 1 to start my return pass, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2, which leaves me with 1 loop on my hook. For my next row, I want to simple stitch each of the next 2 stitches and then pull up loops in 2 more stitches on my foundation. So I'm going to simple the next stitch, simple just the front loop of this stitch, and then find the next 2 stitches on my foundation, which are here, and pull up a loop in each of those vertical bars. Here's 1 and 2. I now have 5 loops on my hook. To do my return pass, I'll chain 1, then yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 until I have just 1 loop left on my hook. For my next row, I need to Tunisian simple stitch each of these stitches. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then find the next 2 stitches on my foundation and simple stitch each of those. I now have 7 loops on my hook, and with each row I'm adding 2 more stitches. Return pass as normal, starting with a chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, all the way back. We'll want to repeat this process until we've worked all of the stitches along our foundation. I'm going to skip a little bit forward and show you how we end this wedge. Here on the last row of my first wedge, I have 2 stitches left to pull up on my foundation. So I'm going to pull up a loop in the next stitch, skip this last stitch, and I'm actually going to insert my hook in the space of my knot where my slip knot was and pull up a loop there. I'm going to pull up a loop there for the last row of each of my wedges just to keep it consistent. And now I want to do my regular return pass, starting with a chain 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, and I will be changing color for my pinwheel, so I'll yarn over and pull through 2 until I have 2 loops left on my hook. But if you're not changing color, you can yarn over and pull through 2 until you have just 1 loop left on your hook. So with my 2 loops left, I want to cut my current color and grab my new color, which will be this linen here. I can now yarn over and pull up a loop in these last 2 loops to begin my next wedge. We'll start this wedge by simple stitching the next 2 stitches. Here's 1 and 2. then return pass. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. For the next row, we simple each of these stitches and then simple the next 2 stitches on our first wedge. Return pass. Yarn over, pull through 2, 2, 2, and 2. For our next row, we simple stitch 4. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then simple stitch 2 more from our previous wedge and return pass. We'll continue in this way, working our short rows all the way across the live stitches of our previous wedge. Join me when you get to the last row of the current wedge and I'll show you how we'll do that final stitch. On the last row of this wedge, I've got 2 more stitches on my previous wedge to pull up loops in. So here's 1. I'm going to skip that final stitch and work into that same space of my slip knot. And all of my final stitches on the last row of my wedges will go into this space. And now I'll do my return pass as normal. So you'll just want to repeat the steps of this second wedge until you have 12 total wedges. Once you're done with your 12 wedges, join me back here. I'll show you how we'll finish off our circle and add the border. So here are all 12 of my wedges done. By working into that same space at the end of my rows, I have a nice clean center. So now I want to slip stitch bind off my current wedge, insert in the next stitch, yarn over, pull through both loops loosely for a slip stitch. Insert, yarn over, pull through both loops. We'll want to do that for each stitch across this last wedge. For our last slip stitch, we're going to work it into the same center hole that we've done for all of the rest of our wedges. Yarn over, pull through for a slip stitch. We're going to pull up that loop and leave a nice long tail so that we can seam our wedges together. And we'll seam our wedges with a mattress stitch. Begin the mattress stitch seam by inserting the needle in the back loop of the first stitch on the wedge to the left, and then insert into the back loop of the first stitch of the wedge on the right. Insert into the back loop of the next stitch on the left, and insert into the back loop of the next stitch on the right. We want to be very careful not to miss any stitches and not to split any lengths of yarn to keep our seam nice and clean. So we're going to continue to insert into the back loop of the next stitch on the left and then in the back loop of the next stitch on the right. Continue to seam in this way until your wedges are seamed together, and then take a moment to weave in your ends just to get them out of the way, and then we'll move on to the border. We'll do our border with a 6mm crochet hook. Make sure the front side of your work is facing you, and you can start your border in any stitch. So I'm going to start in this wedge here, insert my hook under both loops of any edge stitch, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop to join with a slip stitch in my border color. I'll start my border with a chain 4, which counts as a double treble stitch. And then I'm going to double treble in each of the next 2 stitches. So yarn over 3 times, double treble in the next stitch. Insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, through 2, through 2, and through 2 until there's 1 loop left on your hook. Double treble in the following stitch as well. We're going to follow that with 2 treble crochet stitches, yarn over twice, insert, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 2, and 2. There's the first, and here's the second. We'll follow that with 2 double crochets. Here's 1 and 2. Follow that with 2 half double crochets. Here's 1 and here's 2. We'll follow that with a single crochet 2 together. Insert yarn over, pull up the loop in the next stitch, and the following stitch, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and single crochet in the stitch after that. Now we want to slip stitch 5. Make sure you do this loosely because we'll need to work into these stitches later. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. Here's 1 and 2. Half double crochet in each of the next 2. And double crochet in each of the next 2. Treble in each of the next 2. Yarn over twice. Here's 1 and 2. And then double treble in each of the next 3 stitches. And that completes the first side of our border. You can see that we're squaring out the edges to put our circle inside of a square. We'll finish up with a chain 2 here and begin the second side of the first round of our border. We'll double treble in each of the next 3 stitches. So here's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. Follow that with 2 trebles. Here's 1 and 2. Follow that with 2 double crochet stitches. Here's 1 and 2. Then we have 2 half double crochets. 1 and 2, and 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. Followed by 5 slip stitches, making sure we keep those loose. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We've got 2 single crochets coming up next. 1 and 2, 2 half double crochets. 1 and 2, 2 double crochets, 2 treble crochets, and 3 double trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Find the full written instructions for the remainder of this first round of our border on my blog, TLYCblog.com. I'm going to finish up this first round of my border. Meet me back here for the second round of the border. I'm finishing up the round here. I've got a double treble going into the last stitch, a chain 2, and then I'll join with a slip stitch in the top of the starting chain 4. If you're making this square just for yourself or a different project, you can easily stop here. If you are making this square as part of the Tunisian holiday sampler blanket, there is one more round to our border. We'll start that with a chain 1 and single crochet in the same stitch as the join. We'll single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and then increase in the following stitch, which just means to single crochet 2 times in that same stitch. Here's 1 and 2. Now is the repeat for this side of the border. We're going to single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. Here's 1, 2, 3, increase in the following stitch. There's 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Repeat that 5 times. Single crochet 3 and increase in the following stitch. So there's the second of our 5 repeats. Here's the third. Single crochet 1, 2, 3, and increase. There's the third of our repeats. Single crochet 1, 2, 3, increase. That makes 4. One more time. Single crochet 1, 2, 3, increase, and that makes 5. Now we'll single crochet in each stitch to our chain 2 space. So that's 1, 2, 3 times. In our chain 2 space, we're going to single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet again. There's our chain 2 and our single crochet. Let's move on to the next side. We'll jump right into our repeat here, which is single crochet 3 and increase in the next stitch. We'll do that 6 times. So here's single crochet 1, 2, 3, and increase. So that's the first of our repeats. Single crochet 1, 2, 3, increase. That makes 2 out of 6. Single crochet 1, 2, 3, increase. That makes 3. Here's 4. Here's 5. And here's 6. 1, 2, 3 single crochets and an increase. Single crochet in each stitch to the chain 2 space. So we've got 1, 2, and 3 single crochets. Work our corner with a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. And we'll repeat those instructions for that second side around for the other 2 sides of our square. Join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet of the round, and then fasten off and block your square. This video was made as a supplement to the circle and square motif as part of the Tunisian holiday sampler blanket. To get the row by row instructions for this square and learn more about the free sampler Afghan pattern, visit the link in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.